Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Free. I'm Ryan. I'm the pastor and executive director here. Look at that. We're starting with a round of applause. I love it. Hey, to give you the reminder about what Free is, first of all, welcome to all of you. Welcome to all of you joining us online. We're glad you're with us, whatever state you're joining us from, or living room, or kitchen, or sober living home. We're glad you're here. Free is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction and create space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. And there is always one thing we don't do. Y'all can shout it out on the count of three, all four words. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame. But let me tell you some other things coming up that you might want to know about. First, if you're new with us, if it's your first time here at Welcome, we have welcome bags. If you didn't get one yet, you can get one after the service. In the welcome bag, you'll find some free swag and some fresh roasted wagon coffee, some of the freshest coffee you'll ever have because it was roasted this week. And speaking of bags, we are also in the process of putting together what we're calling blessing bags. So we're collecting things like toiletry items, shampoo, toothpaste, deodorant, those types of items. Bring them here, place them in the wagon. It's just outside these doors. Place them in the wagon. On January 21st, which is a Sunday, we'll gather together as a community and put these bags together, and they're going to some of our friends who are experiencing homelessness in the Denver community. So if you want to be a part of spreading some love in the world, please come be a part of that. Also on January 21st, kind of a big day around here, Maggie Barfoot, the one and only Maggie. She will be leading a retreat called the Grounded Warrior. It's on that Sunday, January 21st from 10 to 5. If you don't know Maggie, she does a spectacular job with these types of things. She's got different practitioners coming in, yoga practices, meditation practices. I believe there's going to be sound baths involved. Anyway, it's going to be a great day. So if you want to sign up for that, it's $50. You Venmo her directly. If you've got questions, hit me up afterwards or hit up one of our staff members here at Free, and we'll hook you up with some details. Do y'all know what's coming back in 2024? Sober Open Mic Nights 2024. Yeah. If you haven't been to one of these, I highly encourage you to come. It's a fun time. People taking the stage, oftentimes new in their sobriety, new in recovery, and they're performing for the first time. It's a beautiful thing. We get to cheer them on, root for them. We partner with these events with The Phoenix, and thank you to our sponsors, CARE, Colorado Artists in Recovery, and the Hornbuckle Foundation for sponsoring all 6 of the events this year in 2024. Sober Open Mic Night. The first one coming up is January 25th. It's a Thursday. I hope you plan on coming. You will have a good time. I promise you. All right, y'all. I want to let you know. Sorry, there's a lot going on here. I want to let you know in 2 weeks from tonight, that's January 20th, there will not be a 5 o'clock service. Not that that affects many of you, but we're having a whole evening, and it will consist of a panel discussion. This panel discussion is called the Oxygen Mask Playbook. This is for our loved ones, the loved ones of the addicts, but which really includes all of us, because even if you're in recovery from addiction like me, you probably have people in your life who are battling this brutal disease of addiction. We have 4 of the finest panel members joining us. It is going to be a good evening. I hope you plan on coming, but come early at 5 o'clock. We have a food truck on site. There'll be recovery vendors all throughout the cafe area. There's something going on before the panel discussion led by Amy Moore, and then the panel discussion will kick off at 7 o'clock. So I hope you all plan on coming. A very important evening. And I want to say one other word before we get started with celebrations. Some of you may have noticed we have been in this discussion for about a year now as our board of directors and leaders in this community. You might have noticed on our social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, our website, we have made the official name change from Free Spiritual Community to Free Recovery Community, and here's why. And let me say this first. I've gotten a lot of questions. So does this mean we're not spiritual anymore? And I would say, of course not. Everything we do is spiritual. I mean, if you take God out of the project, free doesn't exist. at the 5 o'clock service, Danny Colella, who's our digital content director, he came and said a word about this, but I'll try to reiterate what he said because he was the one who really pushed for this. He said, look, when people are there, they're like yours, do your thing, but I care about the people who don't yet know about free. And spiritual is a hard word to describe, and it can be threatening to some people. And what we do better than any other community is recovery. And so let's go with Free Recovery Community. When I'm talking to new people, my friends, I can describe recovery. I can't always describe spiritual. And y'all know we're a community for spiritual refugees. Some people have been tremendously hurt by things like church and spiritual communities. And so just a simple name change. That's not going to change anything internally. Our mission stays the same. Message stays the same. In fact, many of you aren't going to notice because most of us don't talk about free spiritual community. We talk about free. If you hear me talk about it, you always hear me say free. But I do want to let you know you'll see that name change if you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, our website. And if you have any questions about that, please do feel free to ask. The board of directors voted on this. Like I said, it's been a discussion for over a year now, so it's not one we just made a rash decision on. But that's the thinking behind it. If you have questions, let me know. All right, y'all, the way we get started here on a Saturday night at Free is with celebrations. We lift up the good. We start with the good. Maybe you have a sobriety anniversary or a birthday or something new you're experiencing in recovery, new homes, new jobs, new kids, whatever the new thing is, we want to celebrate it together, a profound and important part of our time together. We believe that God joins in the celebrations with us. So Dara has a mic. Darren has a mic. And all you have to do is raise up your hand. If you're online, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, simply drop your celebration in the comment section and we'll celebrate with you there. We take 3 minutes for this, and this time is yours.
I'm Whitney, and I celebrated 3 years clean this week.
All right, Whitney.
My name's Jacob, and I'm celebrating 24 days of the happiest days of my life.
All right, Jacob. Way to go, buddy.
My name's Chris.
My name's Juanita, and I'm celebrating 65 days clean today.
All right, Juanita.
My name's Chris. I'm an addict, and I'm celebrating having my family here with me at Free. My wife Tasha and my daughter Brielle, who many of you have prayed for.
Yes.
In the kids' room, and then my grandson Carter. I'm also celebrating the fact that yesterday we got 2 years clean. Thank you.
Yes, Chris. Proud of you, buddy.
My name's City, grateful recovering addict. I'm celebrating 34 days.
All right, congratulations.
My name is Matthew, and I'm celebrating 23 days sober, so I'm feeling good.
Way to go, 23 days.
I'm Zach, 2 weeks today.
2 weeks.
My name is Tracy, and I'm celebrating 38 days today.
All right, way to go, Tracy.
My name is Dylan, and I'm celebrating 9 days sober.
Way to go, Dylan.
My name is Bear, and tomorrow I will hit 30 days.
All right, Bear. 30 days.
My name's Matthew, and on December 27th, I hit 7 months clean.
Way to go, Matthew. Matthew on the tech team.
I'm Kai, and I'm celebrating 295 days free of fentanyl.
Yes, Kai. Woo-hoo.
Hi, my name is Amber, and this week I picked up 6 months, and today I got to see my dad for the first time in about a year. So.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, Amber. Way to go.
Hi, I'm Billy. I'm celebrating 24 days sober from fentanyl.
Way to go, Billy.
Hi, I'm Denise, and I'm celebrating 39 days today.
All right, Denise. All kinds of celebrations in the house. Oh, shoot, did I just kill it?
I'm Alicia, and I'm celebrating 37 days today.
All right, congratulations. Renee, take us home. This is a big one.
I'm celebrating that I just got engaged at the 5 o'clock service.
5 o'clock service, y'all missed it.
To Matt Nawrocki.
Matt and Renee, stand up so people can see you. He proposed at the 5 o'clock service and she said yes. Woo-hoo. What a beautiful moment. Thank you, Dara and Darren. And Darren's going to join me up here. Miss Tammy Canaday, she just went home to do things with the kids and start packing. I'll say more about that later. But thank you for being up here, Darren.
Absolutely.
Shall we join with our online community?
Let's do it. Monica K., I am very grateful because tomorrow I will be celebrating 9 months clean from meth. Good
Way to
job,
go, Monica. Angela says, I celebrated 21 years on January 2nd. Way to go, Angela.
January 2nd, that's a good birthday.
That's a good birthday, isn't it?
Good birthday, yeah.
Someone, did
Angela, we both have the same birthday, so
How
good
many
job.
years did you celebrate on January 2nd?
10 years.
10 years. 10 years sober. Oh, this is yours.
Steven says, celebrating everyone in recovery, whether for 1 day or 40 years.
Thank you, Stephen. There's a lot to celebrate in that. Stephanie says, my name is Stephanie, and I'm so grateful to have one of my best friends close to me in Fort Collins, you, Kristen. Way to go, Kristen and Stephanie. We'll celebrate that.
Good job.
Thank you, buddy. All right, y'all, we're doing a little one-off tonight and a one-off next week because in the week after that we have the panel discussion. Then we'll start a new series. But tonight it's 10 things I've learned in my recovery. Do we have some lights? There we go. There is light. This night 11 years ago was not much different from so many nights before. I was at the church leading a worship service at the church where I was serving as pastor. I got done with that. I exited the church parking lot and I turned left to go to the liquor store to stock up on cheap vodka so that I could go home and drink the way I wanted to drink. And I can tell you all, I did not know how to stop. I did not know how to love myself, and I was spiritually disconnected. And thank God the following morning I was given the GOD, the gift of desperation, and I have not picked up a drink since. And God willing, tomorrow I will not wake up with a hangover. I will not be puking through my nose. I will wake up in my own bed next to my wife of 18 years. And I will not have phone calls to make apologizing for my drunken behavior again and wondering what I did and asking what I said. God willing, tomorrow morning I will wake up and have 11 years sober, and for an alcoholic like me, that's a big deal. Thank you, God, for my sobriety. So this evening, what I thought I would do with you is share with you the top 10 things I have learned in my recovery since I am in the last day of my 10th year of sobriety. The top 10 things, we'll start from the top and work our way down to the bottom. Are you with me? Number 10, don't overthink it. How many here are guilty of overthinking their recovery, their spiritual path? Yeah, me too. It happens all the time, doesn't it? In fact, just last week, I was talking with a friend. We were sitting up on this stage, on the couch and chair here, and he's new in recovery, and all this good is happening in his life. In fact, his life is dramatically changing for the good, and he's asking me, he's like, Ryan, what do I call it? I mean, is it God? Do I call it Jesus? Is it spirit, universe, energy? Do you know in my recovery, I've had to come to terms with messy spirituality. Less answers, more wonder. Because the truth is, I have friends who have, in recovery, very different belief systems than me. When it comes to the world, God, the universe, politics, they see things very differently than me, and yet they're experiencing this God of new life. They're having a spiritual experience, a spiritual awakening. You see, Early in the rooms of recovery, early in my sobriety, it was like God was saying to me, because I started to notice these different people. And God was saying to me, Ryan, you know all those religious categories you have? Well, watch this. And they all start to blow up. And God starts to get a lot bigger. And listen, I'll never tell you you are doing your recovery wrong, but if God for you is getting smaller, more exclusive, if you are getting more judgmental, you might want to rethink the whole recovery project. I love how the psalmist puts it. Y'all know about the Psalms? If you're to take a Bible and open it to the middle, you're probably going to land somewhere in the Psalms. It's in the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible, just a collection of ancient poems and prayers. Psalm 33, the psalmist says it this way, one sentence, two sentences. The skies were made by God's command. God breathed the word and the stars popped out. Man, I love that image. Do you think this God gets all tied up around names and words and categories? God breathed and stars popped out. Maybe the creator of the universe's ego isn't as fragile as we thought it was. Good things are happening in your life. Good things are happening in your recovery. So simply stop and say, thank you. Don't overthink it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have the spiritual path all figured out. More will be revealed. You don't have to overthink it. Number 9, treat others well. Because you do know they might be carrying cake. Some of y'all know this is a very profound event in my life. Big impact. It was a few years ago now. We were headed to Free as a family, our old location. And Tammy, my wife, is sitting in the front seat. I'm driving. Kids are in the back. And we're traveling down Quebec Street. And if you know Quebec, it's hilly. It's up and down. And then we were going to turn right on Arapahoe. And here I am coming down one of the hills. And homeboy in front of me decides he's going to go really slow. And I can't get over. He gets to the bottom of the hill, no stoplight, no stop sign. Apparently he wants to turn right. He puts on his blinker, and then he comes to a complete stop. And Ryan's angry. I'm frustrated. What is he doing? I start yelling. What's he doing? I start honking the horn. You idiot. Why would you drive? You don't have to come to a complete stop to make a turn. And Tammy, you know what she says to me? Oh, Ryan, calm down. He might be carrying cake. To which I'm thinking in my mind, why are you thinking about cake in this moment? Who does that? Tammy has a backstory because many years ago she was a cake baker and cake decorator. She would make these beautiful cakes and then she would deliver them to the wedding or the party or the gathering, whatever it was. And whenever she would load these beautiful cakes in her car, she would always tell me how she had to drive slowly and carefully, especially when she was turning corners because she didn't want the cake to topple over. You see, she had a different lens, a different perspective. Sometimes we need a different perspective. And I get it, y'all. You want to get all frustrated and buckled up with the person who's making you frustrated, making you angry. You don't always know what they're going through. You don't always know what they're carrying. And listen, for those of you that say, well, man, my life just isn't going the way I want it to go. Nothing's working with relationships or the job or the spiritual path. We could start with one very simple question. And I do know it's multi-layered, but we could start here. How are you treating others? Because you cannot continue to treat others poorly and at the same time expect to get ahead in life. Treat others well. Number 8, which is closely related to number 9. Treat yourself well. And there's a caveat here. But own your stuff. Yeah, because see, what I know is some of you treat yourself far worse than you could ever imagine treating another human being. Do you know, just recently I was meeting with a couple in my office, husband and wife. They're sitting on the couch together. And she looks at him and she says, I could hear you yesterday. You were in the shower. I know you didn't think I could hear you, but I could hear you. And you were repeating to yourself, I hate me, I hate me, I hate me. And she looks at him with tears coming down her cheeks, and she says, "Why would you say that to yourself?" And he just kind of blows it off. He says, "Oh, it's just something I say." And when he said that, my heart sank because I knew exactly what he was talking about. I know that feeling. I mean, how many of you in active addiction, you looked in the mirror and you hated what you saw? You were disgusted with you. You see, in recovery, we're given this beautiful opportunity where we are learning how to love ourselves again. Yeah, see, that power that breathed and stars popped out, that's the same one who breathes life into your lungs. So you are a gift. Treat that gift with the utmost respect. But don't ever use loving yourself to get out of owning your stuff. I would encourage you to keep living an examined life. Keep looking at yourself. Own your stuff. Be quick to say sorry. Be quick to make things right. And whatever you do, don't get stuck in the blame game. When life isn't going the way you hoped it would go, don't get stuck in blaming everyone else around you. It was Brené Brown who gave us this reminder. Blame is simply the discharging of discomfort and pain. It has an inverse relationship with accountability. You see, you can love yourself, treat yourself well, and at the same time be accountable for your own actions. Number 7, healthy boundaries are essential. Part of you treating other people well, part of you treating yourself well, is you creating healthy boundaries in your life. Because see, still, some of you have people in your life, maybe even family members, who continue to hurt you in pretty significant ways. It's those people who have this kind of supernatural ability to say something to you, and still 3 days later, you are replaying that thing that they said in your head, and you can't let it go. And listen, y'all, you got to remember, you get to choose who you spend your time with. You get to choose how much time you invest in that person or those people. And when you say things to me like, "Man, can you believe it, Ryan? They did it again. Man, I went to her house and she said it again, that thing that just irks me." Or I went there and he did that thing again, and this time it felt like the knife was just twisting a little bit. Can you believe they did it again? And I would tell you, stop acting surprised. They did it the 72 times before. Why are you expecting something different? Stop being surprised when they show you who they are and they actually are that person. You know, there's a great proverb. The Proverbs found in the Hebrew Bible or the Old Testament. The Proverbs are just an ancient collection of these wisdom sayings, and I love this one. It's found in Proverbs 26, verse 11. They say it this way: "As a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool repeats foolish mistakes." Stop returning to your vomit. In your recovery, you are not a doormat to be walked on. You are not a dog that has to keep returning to your own puke. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Get them and stick to them. And number 6. Yeah, the flow of forgiveness saves. Did you know in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in the first 164 pages, which is the big book, the rest is stories, in the first 164 pages of the big book, forgiveness is mentioned 6 times. In the New Testament scriptures, forgiveness is mentioned 49 times. Jesus talks about forgiveness often. So in the literature that I read, something tells me to pay attention to this theme of forgiveness. And again, some of you have people in your life who have hurt you. They have wronged you. And forgiveness is about you giving up the right to get them back. And why do I say this? Because I can tell you what it's like in active addiction, being bent on revenge. Man, that was me. If you got me, you hurt me, I'm going to get you back. But it's going to be a little bit worse. You hurt people that I love, I'm going to get you back, and it's going to be a little bit worse. And what I can tell you with all my experience in revenge, it doesn't work. Because the only thing revenge does is it keeps escalating. I'm going to get you back, then you're going to get me back. Then I'm going to get you back, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And how do you know when enough is ever enough? How do you hurt someone enough to actually win? You see, forgiving them is not about condoning what they did. And I hear people say it all the time. Well, Ryan, you got to understand, I can't forgive them. I can't forgive that person because that means what I'm saying, what they did isn't wrong. No, it's not. Stop saying that. Forgiveness is not about condoning what they did. It's about you letting go. It's about saying this thing, this person, this event is no longer going to dictate how I live and respond and behave in the world. You see, you're letting go. You're forgiving so that you can actually be free. Because you do know, not forgiving them is like you drinking the poison and expecting them to die. It doesn't work. And I can tell you, I've had very poignant moments in my life with the forgiveness of other people, people I swore I would never forgive. You don't know what they did. Very poignant moments. Thank God for the 12 steps that gave me a process that helped me with forgiveness. And it is a process. Poignant moments of when that happened, when I was able to forgive, when I was able to let go. It was then in those moments where I knew, not just knew, but knew God's peace and serenity. And listen, if you are in recovery, you must remember that resentment is the number one offender. Don't let resentments be the thing that caused you to go back to the thing that was trying to kill you. And number 5, the things I thought I'd miss, I don't. Some of y'all will relate with this. Man, when I first got sober, I remember thinking, how am I ever going to have fun? I mean, this was a real fear of mine. What about the Super Bowl party? I mean, what about hanging out with friends? Or what about Halloween? What about vacation? Is it even worth going to the beach if you can't have a drink and get drunk? And can I tell you all something? The things I thought I'd miss, I don't miss those things. Tomorrow morning, I get to hop on a plane with my wife, just the two of us, and go spend a few days on a beach in Mexico. And we can clap for that. If you would have told me 11 years ago that, Ryan, you were going to spend a week in Mexico on a beach with your wife and there's going to be no drinking involved for you and you're actually going to look forward to it, you're actually going to find great amounts of joy in this, I would have said, you're absolutely crazy. I mean, what are we going to do? If I can't drink, are we just going to talk? Get to know each other? And you know what I can tell you today? Yeah, we're going to talk. Because she is absolutely a fascinating person, and I couldn't always see that in active addiction. Today, I get to spend time with her. Today, in recovery, I get depth in my relationships, not just my marriage, but I have friends that I can be open and honest with. I have friends that I trust, and they trust me. The things I thought I'd miss, I don't miss those things. I traded in chaos for stability, and I plan on maintaining that. And number 4, your presence is a gift that must be protected. Many of y'all know the Serenity Prayer, the short form. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But did you know in its original form, it's actually a bit longer. You can Google it and find this prayer. It's very easy to find. The next 2 lines after that short form that many of us know, the very next 2 lines read like this: living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time. You see, in our recovery, we get to live one day at a time. We get to enjoy, not just endure, but enjoy one moment at a time. And see, out of all 10 things I list tonight, I can tell you I think this one is the hardest. It's the one I'm still learning. It's the one I still get to practice. Maybe you struggle with it too. Because see, I spent so much time obsessing about the next drink. So much time wondering when I was going to get it, where it was going to come from. And do you know, just last week, a miracle happened again. Sometimes I'm actually aware of these miracles that are all around us. Now, we were at the Embassy Suites Hotel, downtown Denver. Because as a family, we have a tradition the day after Christmas, we go spend 2 days downtown together, walk around, go eat, do the swimming thing at the hotel. So here we are at the Embassy Suites. If you don't know about the Embassy Suites, at night, between the hours of about 5 to 7, they do a free happy hour. Can I tell you, I was not one time obsessed with alcohol. That's a miracle that God removed the obsession of the mind. I can tell you, not one time was I obsessed with counting the number of drinks that other people were having around me. And we do that stuff, don't we? I wasn't counting the drinks. Do you know the only bad thing that happened that night? I went up to the bar to order my club soda with a splash of cranberry and a lime on top. And the bartender, you know what she did? She put it in a plastic cup, and when she handed it to me, she assumed it was for one of my kids. Now, that's the worst part of my night. Not a bad night, is it? You see, today, I get to be fully present, and sometimes it's really hard, isn't it? Because like you, I can still get restless and irritable and discontent, and I can still try to control other people around me, and I can still get stuck in the game of future tripping and trying to figure it all out. And sometimes I can actually be fully present, and in those moments, I realize it's all a gift. Because see, on that same night, I took my 2 boys swimming. It was late at night at the hotel. They wanted to go to the swimming pool. So Breck is 7 years old. Brix is 4 years old. They're jumping in and out of the water. And at one point, Breck, 7-year-old, says to me, "Poppy, watch this. It's the bomb cannon." And so I'm watching. And he jumps in the water. And he pops out. He says, "Did you see it?" And to me, I was like, yeah, I saw it. But I'm thinking to myself, it looked like the same other 49 jumps you did before that. And I said, "So explain it to me, buddy. What's the bomb cannon?" He said, "Oh, you didn't see at the end how my leg came out to make a bigger splash. That's the bomb cannon." And see, what I know today is when your 7-year-old boy says, "Watch this," you watch as if you are at Game 7 of the World Series and it's the bottom of the 9th inning and it's all tied up. And you cheer and you root like you are actually there. Because in recovery, you actually get to be all the way there. Your presence is a gift that must be protected. Make sure you are staying present to the things that actually matter. Number 3. Maybe the most profound one I've learned in my recovery. And that is, not only is God love, but God is also incredibly kind. You know, when I got sober, man, I was so full of shame. I swore that no one would ever find out about my addiction in recovery. No one was ever going to know about this. And I stayed really quiet for the first 3 years of my recovery. And I was convinced that I had to do a lot of work to get God to love me again, to get God on my side again, and to keep God on my side. And I can tell you, in recovery, I was able to recover the image of God, and this is the God I've come to know. That not only is God love, but God is also incredibly kind. You know, it was the Apostle Paul in the 1st century who wrote a letter to the church in Rome. And he's warning them in this letter. You can find it in the New Testament, called Romans. He's warning the people to not judge others. He says to them, y'all do know it was not too long ago when you were doing the same things that they're doing, and now you want to judge them. He says, remember who you are. And he says this to them in Romans chapter 2. He says, or do you have contempt for the riches of God's generosity, tolerance, and patience to you? Don't you realize that God's kindness is supposed to lead you to change your heart and life? All the selfishness, all the shame, all the fear, all the drunken moments, all the moments of not having a clue about who I was, all the years I thought I wasted. And now I can look back and see that God was there the whole time, weeping for me to come home. Because see, what I know is God doesn't do revenge. God is not like me. God is not bent on getting you back or somehow punishing you. God doesn't do shame. And I love how it's translated in the Message translation of the Bible. They say it this way in one sentence. In kindness, God takes us firmly by the hand and leads us into a radical life change. My brothers and sisters, isn't that who God is? It's God's kindness that leads us to recovery. It wasn't us. Our best thinking got us drunk again, didn't it? Our best thinking got us high again. A kind, loving God who holds you firmly by the hand and leads you to a radically different life. And number 2, weak is the new strong. I mean, how many times in our active addiction, how many times did we plead with God? God, if I could just be stronger. God, if I could just have more discipline, if I could just stick to my commitments. And the truth is, we tried all that, right? We tried to rely on ourselves more. We tried to have more discipline and more self-will. And did it work? No. Weak is the new strong, and it will always be a countercultural thing to live by. It will never make sense in here, and especially for you men in the room. For us, we're told, be strong, keep it all together, hold it together, don't show your emotion, whatever you do, don't cry. You know that same Apostle Paul, that same one in the first century, he was going through something tremendously difficult in his life. The text doesn't tell us what it is. All we're told is how Paul describes it. And he says, this thing, it feels like it's a thorn in my side. And he's pleading with God, God, take this thorn away from me, remove it. And he says it this way. In 2 Corinthians, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me, but God said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And he goes on to say, today I delight in my weaknesses, for when I am weak, then I am strong. And y'all, I can't tell you how many times in early recovery I clung to this passage. And I hope you know, in your weakest moments, when you are crying out, God, I can't do this anymore. I can't handle this anymore. I hope you hear God saying to you, my grace for you is enough. It will carry you. And I never grow tired of walking with my sons and daughters and holding them firmly by the hand. And my grace for you never runs out. You see, in your weakest moments, you can allow a new power to flow in. And then, my brothers and sisters, you are strong. And number 1, which requires almost zero commentary. Sobriety doesn't fix everything. Sobriety is not a magic pill. You're still going to have hard moments in your life. Your heart might break and shatter. But it does make life a whole hell of a lot better, if you know what I mean. So I would invite you. My friend Tyler is on the saxophone here. 85 days clean and sober. Way to go, Tyler. As he plays, I invite you to reflect on some of the things you're learning. What are the things in 2024 you need to lean into more? And the thing about Tyler is he's a very gifted saxophone player, gave up this gift in active addiction, kept it quiet, didn't play for other people, but now in recovery he gets to share this gift with us, and he's going to play It's a Beautiful World. Did I say it right? It's a Beautiful World? It's a wonderful world. I was close. But y'all know this song. It's a beautiful one. Thank you, Tyler. Take it away. Way to go, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. And congratulations on 85 days clean and sober. Thank you for sharing your gift with us. All right, y'all, every Saturday night we have a guest storyteller in the house to share some of their experience, strength, and hope with us. And tonight, I want y'all to help me welcome my friend and leader in this community, Matt Nawrocki, who is newly engaged as of 2 hours ago. And listen, many of y'all know Matt. Matt has been, he's been a great friend to me. He's been a great friend to this community. He helps a lot of people in recovery. He's 13 years clean and sober. And Matt's got this very powerful story about a profound lesson he learned from his father who was dying and taught Matt how to live. And I want y'all to hear this story of a very important lesson he learned, and we can learn from it. Help me welcome Matt into the living room. Matthew. Welcome back, buddy. They'll turn you on.
Hopefully. There we go.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, Bobby.
Matthew, how does it feel to be engaged to your fiancée, Renee?
Yeah, so real quick, about 2 hours ago at the first service, it's our 2-year anniversary today. And she announced during celebrations that it's our 2-year anniversary. And then I took the microphone and I said, and also we're announcing our engagement. And she looked at me like, what? And then I proposed to her tonight at 5 o'clock. So
it was a beautiful moment.
So not only is January 6th a significant day in our lives, but tomorrow you're celebrating 11 years, January 7th, and it goes and correlates with this story.
Yes.
That my father sobered up on January 7th of 1979.
So a few years before me.
Same date, January 7th, just different years.
Different years.
Yep.
So he's celebrating in heaven 45 years tomorrow.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Celebrating with him.
So tell us, he had a profound impact on your life and your recovery. Can you tell us how that happened?
Yeah. So my father had entered AA on January 7th of 1979, and he died a sober man in 2006 with 27 years of sobriety. When the day he entered AA to the day he died, he never drank.
Yeah.
And so he had 27 years of recovery. And as I shared earlier tonight, I have 3 or 4 profound stories about him that I'm going to share with you tonight. And if it goes too long, we just say we'll cut it off at 3 stories. But anyways, in 2006, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And from the day of his diagnosis to the day of his death was 3 weeks and 2 days. And I got that news while I was at a concert at Red Rocks. I decided to make the decision to fly back to Michigan and spend the few weeks that I had remaining with that man. We flew back. The problem was in 2006, I was a drunk. And alcoholics and drunks bond by the drink. The problem with that is my dad sobered up when I was 8 years old, and I never had to drink with him. So when I went back to Michigan, here was an alcoholic son facing across the table was a sober AA recovered alcoholic. And I asked him to have a drink with me because that's how I connect with people as an alcoholic. I never had a drink with you, Dad. You're dying. It doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to pretend to hold off or whatever the hell you're doing over there on the other side of the wall. I think of sobriety and recovery as the other side of this wall, like a different world. And I didn't understand his world. He probably understood my world, but I didn't understand his world. And I'm like, why don't you have a drink? The gig's up. You're going to die in a few weeks. Have a drink with me. And he looked at me and he said, I don't drink, son. I'm in recovery. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to be anymore. Like, you're dying. Have some Jim Beam with me. And he said, I'm a sober alcoholic and I help other people to recover from alcoholism. I'm not having a drink with you. And he didn't. The next day I thought to myself, I got to connect with him somehow. So I said, Dad, I have the resources to take you anywhere in the world. If you, on your bucket list, since you're dying and you're in a terminal, if you want to go to like the Basilica, do you want to go to Paris? Do you want to go to New York City? I'm thinking that he wants to, something that he never did, and he's dying, you know? And he looked at me sincerely and he said, do you mean that? And I said, yes, I can take you anywhere. And he goes, I'll take you up on that. He said, I want you to take me to my AA meetings. He spent the last 2 weeks of his life going to his AA home group in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I took him. And I drop him off and I go to the bar and do whatever, waiting for him to go to these secret meetings. And I can tell you it meant nothing to me at the time. I was an alcoholic. It meant nothing to me. There was no profound wisdom in him dying sober. He died in my arms. I'd never seen a person die before. He died in my arms. And I was so mad at God for what went down. And that experience, that moment when he died in my arms, accelerated my alcoholism. And then 4 years later, after he died, I was in trouble with alcohol. And I had lost all semblance of control. And I needed help. And then I'm like, oh, my dad showed me where to go, those AA meetings, some secret meetings he used to go to. And I said, there's some funny, profound stories, but understand as his son, the only experience I have from someone calling himself an alcoholic was my father. The only thing I knew about my father is He went to a lot of meetings, he smoked a lot of cigarettes, drank a lot of coffee, and called himself the alcoholic. So when I walked into the AA, if you would have said, what's an alcoholic? I'm like, somebody that doesn't drink, smokes cigarettes, drinks a lot of coffee. And I'm like, I never considered myself an alcoholic. Why? Because I was drinking every day. Alcoholics don't drink and they go to meetings. You know what's even funnier? I started calling myself an alcoholic for the first time when I stopped drinking and drank a lot of coffee with him all the time. So the profound lesson in some of these things was, first of all, his dying a sober man, saying that he was not going to have a drink with his son, and also that he was not going to take his morphine, that he was in extreme pain and he didn't want to take the pills because it was going to create pain, or it might lead to relapse. I didn't understand his whole world. I'm looking at his morphine and thinking, after he dies, I'm wondering who's getting the morphine.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think there's no shame in asking my sober father to have a drink with me and thinking about what's going to become of his pills after he dies, I had to work through all that.
Yep.
And him dying a sober man, saying he didn't want to drink with his son, not taking morphine, he dies. 4 years later, I come into recovery, and I'm driving down the road one day, and I just slammed on the brakes, and I'm like, my God, he showed me how to die sober. That was a profound moment. 5 years after he died, I'm like, that guy showed me how to die a sober man. I can tell you this, in 2006, that meant nothing to me. In 2011, it meant everything to me. He showed me how to die without having to take the drugs to do it, you know? And that was a profound lesson. Another profound lesson was I was in 2011. I sobered up in 2010. I celebrated 13 years of recovery in November, and I have almost halfway to my dad's recovery. I also said this, that, you know, in my family, I believe that we have alcoholism. I believe that we have a streak of pancreatic cancer. But I also believe that we have AA. And there's 3 generations of recovering alcoholics now in my family. And so I believe that recovery's a vitally important thing also. In 2011, I decided to go back and visit the rooms where my dad spent his entire adult life as a recovering alcoholic. And I sat in the back, and I finally shared in that room that I said, this is a very eerie day to me. I said, I believe this was my dad's home group, and he died in 2006. And I shared with them. And after the meeting, 3 people came up to me, and one was an old-timer who's celebrating 60 years of recovery this year.
That's a long
He
time.
sobered up in 1963, and he saw my dad walk in 79 with 16 years of sobriety. Tom, a shout out to you. Anyways, he said, you're Rocky's kid, aren't you? And I said, yes, I'm Rocky's kid. And he said, another guy comes up and says to me, show me a grateful alcoholic and I'll show you a sober one. And I looked at him, I'm like, what the hell would you say that to me for? He said, that's what your dad was known for. That saying. He was infamous for saying, show me a grateful alcoholic and I'll show you a sober one. And then he pulls out his wallet and hands me a business card that my dad gave to him 6 years before and said, this was your dad's signature card. Show me a grateful alcoholic and I'll show you a sober one.
And you never seen that?
No, I had no idea. And I was so touched sentimentally that I asked that alcoholic, can I have this card? And he's like, hell no, it's mine. So there goes a sentimental.
That's
like
funny.
an alcoholic, he didn't give it to me, but my dad was handing out business cards. And finally, the last story is a guy watching tonight is a buddy of mine who's, when I go back into AA and I go back to visit my dad's rooms in Michigan, Brad, I just want to give you a little shout out. I took a coin in Grand Rapids one of my years, and I said to Brad, hey, I got to stop by my father's gravesite real quick. And Brad actually took a picture of me kneeling on his, by his gravesite. And I put my sobriety coin every year on his grave. That's my living amends. He never got to see me sober. And so,
yeah.
And one last thing I should say is that man has a lot of coins from a lot of different people on his grave to this day. It's all filled with AA coins from people that he's helped over the years. It's incredible.
Man, I'm grateful for your dad, and I've never met him, of course, but I'm really grateful for you too, Matt. Thank you for sharing that story with us tonight. Thank you for being a part of this community. And, man, I love you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Matt. Good stuff. Well, the way we close things down on a Saturday night here is very similar to how we begin. We begin with celebrations, lifting up the good, but what we also know is we can carry around these heartaches, these burdens that we have no business carrying around alone because we suck at doing it alone. It's why we have community. It's why we have a God who hears the cries of the people. So we take 3 minutes for this. And again, if you're online, simply drop your comments, your heartaches in the comment section on YouTube or Facebook. And Dara has a mic, and Darren has a mic, and we take 3 minutes. If you're carrying a burden that you need prayer, encouragement, lifting up for, I encourage you to take the mic and put words to it, and this time is yours.
Hi, everybody. My name's Debbie, and this week my sister called me, and my brother-in-law was taken to the emergency room with chest pains, and he had a heart attack a couple of months ago that they didn't know. He didn't know he had a heart attack, but he's going to have to see a cardiologist, and so I'm praying for him. 13 years ago this month, he was almost deceased. He had leukemia, and we prayed for a miracle, and he has recovered from his leukemia. So now we're just praying for him. He's the favorite brother-in-law in the family. So,
all right, we're going to pray for that favorite brother-in-law.
We really like Pat McManus.
Prayers for Pat. Thank you, Debbie.
My name's Carla, and just recently I found out that my dad has cancer. I'm not sure what stage or where it's at, but if we could just pray for that. Thank you.
Carla, prayers for you and your dad.
A couple weeks ago, family friend Bonnie had a skiing accident and broke her neck. She is just starting to get some feeling in her arms and legs, but cannot move them, so just asking for prayers.
All right, lifting up Bonnie.
My name's TK. My house coordinator of my house, he's been diagnosed with some things that I wish not to really say, but he's in Arizona right now. At a spiritual healing community, and I just want to kind of have people have him in our prayers to help you. Thank you.
All right, lifting him up, TK.
My name is Kayla. I'm looking for prayers after my last relapse. I'm 25 days sober today, but I am now dealing with some health issues, and so I'm just looking for some prayers due to addiction and just some guidance.
Kayla, we're glad you're here, and prayers for you.
I'm Mike. I'm an alcoholic. A good buddy of mine that I met in the rooms, his dad had a heart attack on Christmas Day and passed at their house unexpectedly, and the funeral was today. So I'm just prayers for him and his family, and hope he gets through sober.
Yeah, lifting up their family.
A friend of ours, Darren, was on his way here tonight and got in a 4-car pileup, and we're just praying for a speedy recovery.
All right, man. Prayers for him.
Good afternoon. My name's Arnold. Just wanted to say I relapsed this 2023, so I'm just trying to get back on track.
All right, Arnold. We're glad you're here, man. You can do it. Stay connected. Yeah.
And
I'm Mark, and I just want to make sure that we remember those that over the holidays that relapsed from sober living homes, and pray for all of them and their return.
Yeah.
I just had one personal one.
Do it, Dara.
I'm Dara. I have a special lady in my life. Her name is Kathy McCoy. She's my friend's mother, and we found out over the weekend that she's facing cancer for the 4th time. So if everyone can keep Tyler, Joe, and Kathy in their prayers, she's going down to Emory University on Tuesday.
All right, prayers for them. Lots of themes of cancer tonight. I just try to pay attention to that. And so lifting them all up. Thank you for that, Dara. Darren, are you joining me back up here? It's always good to have you up here, man.
Yeah, it's good to be up here.
You want to take the first one?
I would love
With
to.
Our online
I would
people?
love to.
All right.
First, we have Jeff. Please pray for my friend Scott, whose 19-year-old daughter, Naomi, was murdered on New Year's Day.
Goodness.
Jeff, our hearts are with you.
Yeah.
And keep her in prayers.
Amy says, praying for my best friend's 32-year-old niece, Kristen. She is fighting for her life in ICU at Porter Hospital. Her liver is failing. She is on a ventilator. Pray God's will be done. Pray for her family. Amy, absolutely keeping Kristen and her family and friends, you in prayer.
Kelly, I need to ask for prayers for my son Christopher, who is in the hospital battling cellulitis. Our prayers are with you, Kelly and Christopher.
Connie says, today's the day Tom lost his parents in a house fire 37 years ago. They were alcoholics. Our hearts are with you and your sisters, Karen and Suzanne. And Connie, thank you for mentioning that. Prayers for them and remembering a very important act. Yeah. All right, Darren, thank you for being up here. And I want to remind you all, if you call this place home, if this is your family, your tribe, your people, your generous giving, well, we rely on it. It's very important to us here. We're very grateful for it here. There's a giving box just beside Mark. Paul is lighting it up. There's a giving box just outside these doors. I know many of you in this community have made that a spiritual practice in your life. It's a new thing for you, and it's a sacrificial practice in your life. Because you realize it's all just a gift, and for you, that's a simple way to give back. So if you'd like to donate tonight, there's the giving boxes, of course, but if you don't have cash and you want to donate, there's 3 ways to digitally donate. You can first download the app, free spiritual recovery. Actually, it's free recovery community. See, I'm still learning too. And you can give there. There's a giving button. Give one time, weekly, monthly, however you want to do it. Or you can go to the website that says freespiritualcommunity.com, but it's freerecoverycommunity.com now. We need to update this. And then the number on your screen. You can text the number, and it walks you through a simple set of instructions. And really, y'all, when I say this, I mean it. Your generous giving here keeps the mission thriving, breaking the silence of addiction. I hope you see how important it is, not just here, but across the country. And without your giving, truly we don't exist. So thank you for being a part of that. Shall we go out with a prayer? I think we should, because we do every Saturday. It's a centering practice. And I invite you to open your hands. It's a simple way for you to demonstrate openness, open to the God of the universe, breathing life in us, through us, and all around us. So take a big, deep breath. God breathed and the stars popped out. If you don't know the set-aside prayer, it'll be on your screen. And it goes like this. God, today, help me set aside everything I think I know about you, everything I think I know about myself, everything I think I know about others, and everything I think I know about my own recovery, so that I may have an open mind and a new experience with all these things. Please help me see the truth. Amen. Much grace and peace to you, my free brothers and sisters. See you next week.